This is NewsVISION for Friday, September 22nd. I'm Jimmy Patterson. 20-year-old Armando Garcia has been described as everything from a repeat offender to a good kid. Today, authorities are awaiting results of his autopsy after Garcia was shot and killed by Midland police following a short vehicle and foot pursuit early Thursday morning. The shooting happened in the 4500 block of Graceland. Garcia had been arrested before on drug and theft charges multiple times. An investigation on his death could take up to 60 days. Midland officer John Chandler was placed on administrative leave until the investigation is complete. It was the second deadly force incident involving a Midland police officer since March, when police fired on a man wielding a knife in a Midland antique mall. Governor Rick Perry visited the Permian Basin on Thursday, raising questions about his independent challenger Carol Strayhorn and announcing the creation of 100 jobs at Trace Engines. Trace, Perry said, was created in part by the Texas Enterprise Fund and will help invest $4.5 million in the local economy. Meanwhile, Perry says he has a lot of questions about Strayhorn's acceptance of a campaign contribution of $1.5 million from the Dallas tax firm. Perry says Strayhorn's acceptance of the gift is not in keeping with the ethics plan she herself has outlined and suggests she should return the contribution to that firm known as Ryan and Company. Today is Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, and the beginning of a holy period for people of the Jewish faith, a time that will culminate October 2nd with the observance of Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, the highest holy day on the Jewish calendar. Frank Caseman, president, Temple Bethel in Odessa, explains exactly what a Rosh Hashanah is.
Rosh Hashanah is the Jewish New Year. It's the beginning of the 10 days of atonement between the Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, which is the period of time where you reevaluate and you ask forgiveness of all your sins and hope that by the end of the second holiday, which is Yom Kippur, you're inscribed again for another year in the Book of Life.
It's Football Friday in Texas. Lynn Hayward, the sports editor for the Reporter-Telegram, here with this week's Friday Night Minute.
Lynn Hayward, sports editor with the Reporter-Telegram, with us on this edition of Friday Night Minute. Lynn, we got one of those rare occasions this week where we've got two high school games at Grande Stadium.
It was one of those rare quirks of scheduling because you never know how head coaches are going to schedule sometimes. You can never figure it out. But what had happened was, I think Lee and their deal with the Lubbock Independent School District to play those games, Lee had to fit into a certain slot at Lowry Field, and that was that slot, and it just happened to be on the same weekend Midland High was out of town.
Let's look at each game. Tonight, 7:30 at Grande Monterey at the Midland High Bulldogs. Will the Plainsmen do to the Bulldogs what they did to Lee last week?
You know, I doubt it. I think Midland High's had played pretty well last week, and I think they're going to be moving on a whole lot from that game where they lost to El Paso Coronado 2 weeks ago. And sometimes Midland High is tough to beat at home.
2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, it's homecoming for the Rebels, Lee and the Lubbock Westerners. What do you see there?
I think Lee should win this game pretty handily. If they have trouble with it, I'll be pretty surprised. Their offense is coming along slowly. Their defense has been playing pretty well. It's about time for the offense to kind of catch up to how well the defense is playing, because once that happens, Lee is going to be a pretty tough team.
Any truth to that rumor that you schedule softies for homecoming?
Well, Lee scheduled
90s, 65 for a low tonight. Cooler over the weekend with highs in the 80s on Saturday and the 70s on Sunday. Have a good weekend, everyone. That's NewsVISION for this Friday, September 22nd, and I'm Jimmy Patterson.